pleased were you that the passing attack got going, and how's practice going this week?
Yeah, that was definitely a positive. It's definitely the best that we've thrown the ball all year by far. So it's been a huge emphasis for us the last couple of weeks in practice, and you get in what you work for, and they put in the work for it, and it definitely showed. Obviously, still not to our standards, still not as good as it could have been, but definitely progress, and it's been good this week. We kind of made sure we watched that film and let them know that, hey, even though it's better, it's still not what we want. There's still plenty of plays that we left on the field that we got to keep improving, and I think the guys have had a good attitude practice this week and have gone to work.
Trell Williams gave such a good performance, a lot of catches. What's he bringing? How pleased are you with what he's doing? And also somebody like Marion Dollison getting involved.
Yeah, those are two guys that we definitely got to get the ball to a good bit, just because they're very electric with the ball in their hands. As you can see, they make plays down the field that are explosive. You can throw them a hitch, they can make somebody miss, make something happen, and having guys like that's invaluable. So Latrell, we knew this time would come at some point in time. Obviously, I'd hoped it was a little bit earlier, but that was the first time he really got a good bit of targets, and we were able to deliver the ball to him. So that was really, really good to see. I'm not surprised by the performance. We kind of thought that he'd be one of our best players going into the season. So just glad that it finally came to tuition.
Can you talk about what you're looking for from the running backs for the rest of the season?
Yeah, I think we need to continue to have some explosive runs, but obviously we got to be a little bit more physical in pass protection. That still showed up a little bit. So we got to continue to improve on that, continue to find a bigger back to put in. Maybe when Kelly or Johnny are a little bit tired and want to get a little bit change of pace guy at some point in time. But continue to develop them in the run game, utilize them in the pass game as receivers, and then got to get better as blockers.
When he gets up to speed, could Leo Parker be a solution?
Yeah, we're definitely pushing for Leo to get to that position. He's still new to the position, so still learning some things and trying to figure that out. But he's a big-bodied kid. He's very physical running the football, so we're hoping that he can get up to speed and figure it out, and he can be able to be that bigger back for us.
When did he make the transition to running back?
So this was maybe right before fall camp, and then he kind of missed some time as well throughout. So he just hasn't had quite as many reps as we probably needed him to be ready to play at this point in time. But hopefully, that's getting close to where he can be ready to perform for us.
Coach, can you talk a little bit about what you've seen on film from Temple's defense and ways they're going to try and use you a little bit on Saturday?
Yeah, they're a very physical team. They had a great defense last year. And, playing Navy week 1 is a little bit difficult for us because we don't really get to evaluate them as much because of the scheme. So we really can just watch it to look at their players. But I certainly think they got a very stout defensive line again this year. I know that was one of their strengths from last season. Their pass rush, so I think they'll be very good up front again, very physical, very well-coached defense that plays assignment sound. It's a little bit different than ECU. ECU, obviously, we knew that they're a heavy pressure team. Temple's a little bit more, they do what they do, and a little bit more static, but obviously versus us, we'll anticipate probably a little bit more pressure than they've shown in the past. But they're a very well-coached football team. They're very detailed, very assignment sound, and they're just tough. They're going to say, we're tougher than you, and they're going to challenge you blocking across positions.
Does it change at all your preparation, or maybe even simplify it, knowing that you have one definitive starter at quarterback this week?
It does. I mean, it's a little bit easier just because of the reps in practice where, you're trying to get multiple players ready to play in the games. It's a little bit easier. When you got your one guy that you're going to play for the majority of the game, and allow him to get those reps and continue to develop that chemistry with the receivers, which is still a definite thing. And then you just can play to his strengths with the entirety of your game plan compared to having maybe a few things here or there for some other people.
Was it kind of a sigh of relief that you finally got to that point? I know Coach wanted to have 3 games under his belt before he named one, and then everything happened. Finally, you got to name Jordan. Was it a sigh of relief for you?
Yeah, it definitely was. We wanted somebody to go out and have a performance like Jordan had, and now obviously it wasn't perfect. There's still a long ways to go, and we're going to get better. But it definitely was good to see somebody go out there, have a strong performance, play tough football.
Coach, can you talk about the tight ends? I know against ECU, all 3 were targeted. But
Yeah.
You had the big gainer. I believe Jacob had a reception. Can you talk about how they've been coming along?
Yeah, all 3 of those guys are guys that we can count on, we can trust. Not a big drop off from one to the other. So I really like that group. They can definitely give you something in the passing game. and finally we were able to throw the ball a little bit more, so they're able to get a few more targets, so on and so forth. But those guys are really good blockers and receivers. They're the perfect kind of tight end that you look for in this system, and so really happy and pleased with how they've been, and they're continuing to get better.
Talked about Jordan's toughness. Coach Scott, prided him on that in that game. He's also really increased his accuracy. What are you seeing that's allowing him to do that?
I think he's just more confident and comfortable. It's a little bit easier, like we talked about with fall camp, and you got multiple players repping, multiple receivers repping. We finally got into the game. It was a little bit of, he had been in with the guys that he had repped with the most, had a good comfort level with them, and then I think it was a fairly simple passing game plan for him to execute. He felt comfortable with it and was able to deliver the ball on time with anticipation. There's still, a few times where, we need to get the ball out a little bit quicker. But for the most part, I felt like he was comfortable with the players and the plan and knowing what to do.
Coach said he was pleased with the receivers too, the timing and spacing with their routes. I mean, just how pleased are you with their progress with that?
Yeah, I mean, if we can keep that going and get our run game back up to par of what we expect it to be, I feel like we can be a really good offense. So, we're still trying to look for that balance. Early in the season, we're trying to get the passing game up, and now this game, we didn't run the ball quite as well as we would have liked to. So, we got pieces here or there, but we got to put it all together. We got to have that game where it's run game, pass game, protection, everybody doing their part and just executing in all the little details and things we're looking for.
Charlie, in terms of protection, do y'all have anything in your scheme for an H-back?
Yeah, we do. We do have multiple protections that keep the tight ends in. We utilize that a little bit against East Carolina, and I know Coach Scott mentioned it, and certainly the case. We had some communication things that we've got to clean up with that, but we definitely will use those guys because they are big bodies compared to our running backs. I think I mentioned that a little bit last week, but it's definitely good to have those guys in the backfield and use them as the protectors sometimes, and hey, let your running backs release, or a little bit smaller and shiftier with some of that. So we definitely have that in the system. Something that we got to look into moving forward. All good. Thank you.